Can't you see that you're smothering me? Holding so tightly, afraid to lose control. 'Cause everything that you thought I would be has fallen apart right in front of you. The undertow, just caught in the undertow. Every step that I take is another mistake to you. Every second I waste is more than I can take. I've become so numb, I can feel you there. Become so tired, so much more aware. I'm becoming late. All I want to do is be more like me and be less like I've become so numb, I can feel you there. Become so tired, so much more aware. I'm becoming
Well, this is certainly different. Nobody ever tells me anything about the SFL is not only going to feel different in season 16, but is also going to look and maybe possibly even sound differently as well. This is NETMA. My name is Tyler Falk. I host the program. I hope you all had a fantastic Christmas and holiday season. 2020 is finally coming to an end, and I, for one, am looking forward to the new year with hope and optimism. This pandemic will be coming to an end very soon. I guarantee it. It's going to alleviate a lot of the stress that we have all had. This past week, I received the first dose of the Pfizer COVID vaccine due to where I'm located and to what I'm doing for work. And I'm going to say that I'm not going to force any of you to do what I say to do. I'm not going to try and tell you that you should go and do something or what have you. But I'm going to highly recommend that if you do have the opportunity to get the COVID vaccine, one of them, the one from Moderna, Pfizer, and I know, excuse me, the UK just approved the AstraZeneca vaccine as well. So that might be coming over here to the US, who knows? But all I'm saying is, if you have the chance to, take that opportunity, get vaccinated, because it's all it's going to do is help your body fight this deadly and dangerous disease. If you want to join the conversation live, if you want to post something in our Discord channel via the show questions page, you want me to answer your question, or you want me to answer your question here on Twitch, you can either post it in the Twitch chat, or you can post it on the NETMA server, a link to which is at the bottom of your screen. Post your question there, and I'll go ahead and answer it throughout the show. Link to, like I said, again, the link to the show's Discord channel is at the bottom of your screen. Now, let's find out who decided to jump into chat. I know that there is a preseason SFL game going on right now. It's the Storm versus the Swarm. Try saying that 5 times fast. Let's see who has all jumped in to join in on the fun. Got Hubba Kimbrel, Hubba Breezy is in the chat as well. Thank goodness it's working on mobile devices. Let me know if it is not working at all, or if you guys are having any issues. I'll go ahead and try and fix that. If you guys can't see my face, that might be a problem. So if you can't see me, let me know. Let's see, we've got Hubba in here. We've got Nate Hall. Hey, Nate. I believe that's Chad Rowland, the CCR 71. Looks like he's running some sins for his London Knights. Let's see who else we got here. Hike the Earth. Wingman, another great show incoming. I agree 100%. Charleston Predators have jumped in. The salute. Charlie Boletsky, what's up, y'all? How do you like Florida, Charlie? I hope you are enjoying your time in Florida. Jack Lewis, the kicker for the those London Knights, says, "What's up? What's up, Jack?" Cregan from Mr. Blitzkrieg says, "Good morning. Good morning to you, sir, as well." Mighty Joe Young Guy Clausen, how you doing, sir? Let's see, Bob Funk's with us. Kendra Hall, good evening. David Leathers, Eddie Gage, what up, doe? What up, doe, Eddie Gage? And then Gunny, where is the Golden Gopher tie? Sadly, I don't have one yet, Gunny. I need to get a Golden Gopher tie. This is the best thing I could do. Though my Gophers are sadly not doing too hot in football, but they are a very promising college basketball team. So I'm very happy for my Golden Gophers. Basketball. Romans 6684, greatest show on right now, and I'm not saying that because he's part of the secondary with myself and the rest of the Mavericks. That must be my new teammate over in San Diego. Hey, how you doing? Let's see here. We've got, I think that's about it for now. Again, thank you to everyone who's jumping in on the conversation, saying, hey, I know it's the middle of the week, and I know there's a SFL preseason game going on, so thanks for stopping by and having a chat. Love to see you. So I mentioned at the beginning that nobody ever tells me about the SFL might look and sound differently in the upcoming season. I also teased that in the announcements of the show that I met with someone this past week who shared some very good and eye-raising details about the future of the league. I'm really, really excited to say that because Mr. Cameron Irvine was in town in San Antonio, I was able to go and have lunch with the commissioner himself. And you can see that there's the proof. There's the proof, Eddie Gage. There's the proof. We took a photo to commemorate everything. But no, we sat and chatted for a little over 2 hours, had some very good conversation, and thoroughly enjoyed my time with the commissioner, Cameron Irvine. Absolutely a blast. Got to learn a lot about him, got to learn a little bit more about the league and the future of the league, and some ideas he's got, some ideas he's trying to push through. Not of all which I can share with you, of course, but there are some things he is allowed me to share with you all. And I teased that the SFL is probably going to look and sound differently next season. And what's the precipice behind that is Cam was telling me that we were going over schedule, how the schedule is going to look for the new season. Not talking, where it's going to be, if it's going to be on TV on a certain channel, or if it's going to be all on YouTube and the SFL Twitch channel, but how the weekend schedule is going to run. The way he broke it down for me was there are no longer going to be, or at the moment, his idea is there's no longer going to be games on Fridays or Mondays. His idea is to run more of a studio show. We'll talk about what that means in a minute. Where he runs triple headers with 2 games going on simultaneously. So was that 6 tuple headers? Correct me if I'm wrong. My math is always wrong. So, but 6 games Saturday, back to back to back to back to back to back, and 6 games Sunday, back to back to back to back to back. What that means is, if Cam's idea comes to fruition, that also at the moment would mean that the commissioner, Cameron Irvine, would be on very fewer calls as far as calling the game by play-by-play throughout the entire season, because he would be the man in charge of producing the shows. As we all know, Cameron Irvine produces every single show outright, including the games he's calling. What the problem is with him running back to back to back to back to back games and running 2 games at the same time because that means he has to control 2 different systems, and that divides his focus, which means he's not able to call the game he would be calling during those doubleheaders effectively. So we may hear Cameron Irvine's voice in the booth doing play-by-play less coming next season. The way he was describing to me, the benefits of doing more of a studio show is this. He wants to do something more like NBC has done in the past, where there's a lot more highlights from not just previous weeks, but from the current week. So he wants to be able to chop up highlights from the games that have going on throughout the day. So let's say there's Florida's game is the first game that happens. Okay. And there's a couple of big highlights from that game. What Cameron wants to do is take some of those highlights from that game and have the ability to show it on every single other game that's going, on at the same time. Which means a much more in-depth game day from a viewer standpoint, which means that you don't have to have 2 screens open and switch back and forth and try and listen to both at the same time. You could get a studio game break and have, basically picture in picture almost, and get the highlights from the other game going on while you're watching your game. I think that's pretty cool. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and what you guys think on that as well. Let's see who else jumped in. I saw a couple questions before I started. Let's see. Ready? Joe jumped in. Nate Hall. Let's see who else jumped in. I saw Eddie Gage reply. Kendra Gunny. Oh, they're the same people. That's awesome. There's AJ. Hey AJ, how you doing? You had a spectacular kickoff to your 4th season here the other day. I enjoyed listening to that. See, Josh Farnsey, SFL Red Zone. You could call it that. Miss the Fonz, Josh Farnsey. Let's see here. Let's get to a couple of your guys' questions. We'll start here in Twitch chat. Let's see. Kendra says, I should feel special because I have stayed up for your show. I've been awake since 1 a.m. this morning. Oof. Kendra, I don't. If you want to go to bed, Kendra, you're more than welcome to head off to bed. I appreciate you staying up, but if you need to go and take off to get some rest, please. That's more important than this show. So I'd rather be looking out for you than watching this. You can always watch this at another time, but I appreciate you tuning in and listening, Kendra. Let's see. I thought I saw something from Nate. Here we are. From Nate Hall. What's my opinion on the upcoming FCF League coming out soon? That's a good question because I don't know too much about the FCF. Nate, if you could DM me more about what that is, I would love to hear more on that because I sadly don't know too much of the FCF. I believe that might be the college simulation league that I heard might be popping up, but we'll see. I'd have to see what your guys' take is on that. Is that something? It looks like Chad Rowland is saying Manziel is there right? Is there now? Right? Let's see. AJ just piped in and asked, why did I name my player Mike Ryan? That's a fantastic question, AJ. And it goes with a little bit of a story. So, Mike Ryan was an actual person. Back in the late 1990s, early 2000s, he worked directly with my dad in the Air Force, in the Air National Guard up in Minnesota, where I'm from. Hence the Golden Gopher shirt that I'm wearing right now. And what that is, or what they did is they worked together. And especially Mike worked as the most senior non-commissioned officer in the in his unit. So a chief, or an E9 for those military people that don't know Air Force ranks. Basically, big old boss, big dog, that kind of thing. But Mike was never a person to boast about his position. He was always one of the first people to be humble and to offer support and guidance and teach and coach and mentor. And he especially did that for my dad. And then reciprocally did that for me as well. He'd come over to our house and, we'd hang out. More of my dad and Mike would hang out, but every once in a while, me and Mike would be able to chat and go places. And one day, me and Mike were driving, I think, to pick up my sister from dance or something like that. But he asked me a question. It's a very surprisingly profound question, but it's a simple one at the same time. He asked, "All right, Ty, which way do I turn? Do I go left or right?" Okay. I responded, "Left. That's where we're going." He said, "Correct. Always be clear about where you're going, because if you would have told me right, and I would have responded right, more of a question type form, kind of gets convoluted, kind of gets cloudy, kind of, right?" So he taught me, not just being humble, but be clear and concise with my words. Something I have struggled from time to time on calls, and especially when I'm doing this new show. But Mike was always there to coach and help and mentor. We sadly lost the real life person, Mike Ryan, in the late 2000s to cancer. He lost his battle with cancer. And because of Mike and because of my dad, I'm now in the Air Force and serving with the Air Force down here in San Antonio, Texas. And the player Mike Ryan is is in direct memory of Mike Ryan, the person he was. And I hope to really shine who Mike Ryan is in the league and wherever I can talk about him, because he was just that great of a person. To Kendra Hall, yes, I'm active duty. Unlike my dad, or I should say, kind of like my dad was originally active duty for 3 years, and then they did what's called a palace chase back home to Minnesota, the Guard there. What's a palace chase, you might ask? A palace chase is if you're in the military and active duty, and you think, I still want to serve my country, but I don't want to be active duty. What you can do is what's called a palace chase or a palace front. And what you're able to do is you're able to say, if there's a job opening in your career field, you can say, I want to go back home to the National Guard or the reserve base in Montana, or in my dad's case, Minnesota. And he got very lucky. He was able to palace chase back home. And, well, a lot of things happened. One of which I wouldn't be here if he hadn't palace chased back home to Minnesota. So there's that. Let's see. Kendra, if you're looking to the Air Force, I highly recommend the Air Force. The other branches are fantastic. Gunny can attest to the Marines, and I'll attest to the Marines the same way. I got some buddies in the Marines myself. I got a buddy in the Air Force. I know some people that have been in the Navy and the Coast Guard. So if you go into the military at all, my hat's off to you. Thank you for your service. Thank you for serving. But I highly recommend the Air Force above any other, because unlike what Height the Earth is saying, the Chair Force, yes, the Chair Force. I should mention, there's the Space Force now. Man, that's gonna be hard to remember sometimes. But I highly recommend the Air Force because of the quality that you get for joining the Air Force. I'm not gonna say the Army or the Marines, their perks. But my dad put it to me this way. Would you rather be in a foxhole or be in a hotel? It's pretty much like that. I'm not going to say most of the time, because there are a lot of jobs in all the branches that will get you, into more of a hotel stay. But for the most part, you're staying in a more relaxed, not going to say relaxed environment, because the military is not as relaxed as some people think, but it's more of a, what's the right word to say? Maybe you guys can help me out in the comments. Yes, AJ, as of let's see, 2019, President Trump approved the Space Force, and we now have a sixth branch of our military. Let's see, Roman 6684 says, my son is in the Army National Guard. Thank you to your son for his service. Let's see, Nate Hall was in the Army National Guard from 11 to 17. Thank you, Nate, for your service. Krieg, I'm stationed out of JBSA Lackland, not Fort Sam, but close. That is a base down here as well. Let's see here. Is there snacks in this chat room, and if so, what's the Mike Ryan menu? I think there's some mints floating around, Gunny, if you can find them. I have yet to stock the fridge or get any popcorn or anything, but right now I think there's just some mints floating around. So there's that. Let's see here. Let's go to a few questions in the show chat. Let's see. Before that, Nate Hall says the fan-controlled football league, no coaches, all aspects of teams and games are controlled by fans. I think that was an idea a while back. I want to say like in 2015 there was an idea of that going. So it looks like it's actually coming to fruition. Actually has a full-on acronym now. It'll be different. We'll have to see if it works. If it works, fantastic. But the one thing is, I believe the voting system for calling plays is going to be based on voting. So that'll have to be, I don't know. That's going to be weird, I think. Either it's going to be a voting system, because if it's not a voting system, like you got to call a play in what, 40 seconds is the regular game clock for the no fun league, the NFL. Lol. So how are you supposed to get, hundreds of people to agree on one play in a playbook of, the SFL has about 250 to 400 plays in a playbook, or maybe I'm wrong, maybe it's 100 to 250, but still, how are you going to get hundreds and hundreds of people to pick one play in 40 seconds? You got to get their formation right. You got to get all that information to the players. I don't, that's going to be weird. It'll be interesting to see how they do it. Gunny, if you can find some MREs, more power to you. MREs would be all right, I guess. All right, let's see. Show questions. Let's see. Let's start off with the commish, the photo of which I have on screen, who I got to meet this past week. He said, if I could meet any SFLer in person that I haven't met, who would they be? That's his first question. For me, I haven't met any SFLer besides the Commissioner Cameron Irvine. So actually, in person, I should say, I've met a lot of people in chat, a lot of people in the commission chats and in SFL Gen Chat, but meeting them face to face like that, Cam's the first one. So I think for me, I'd like to meet the people, the men and women I was a part of with Memphis. Meet all those people first, because they were the first team that I had a chance to meet, chance to be a part of. So I think Memphis deserves a little. I'd like to meet all those guys. Like to meet all the broadcasting personnel. Mike Daggs, Chris Curtis, Ryan Yosef, who I called the SFLM Season 2 Championship with, Chad Nevels. Like to meet all those guys. I'd like to meet all my Maverick teammates, because they're a fantastic group of guys too, and we just got drafted to the Mavericks, and I'd love to see who they all are and meet them face to face, and hopefully we can do that with the upcoming convention that hopefully doesn't get postponed. But then I'd like to meet all the content creators. Like to meet Ashley Jackson face to face. Like to meet Dave Axis face to face. Coach Craven, Eddie Gage, lots of people. Nelson Lozano. There are a lot of content creators in this league. I'd love to meet every single one. And by all means, I would love to meet every single one of you in the SFL community, because you guys are awesome. This is the best community I've ever been a part of, as far as online league or online format. Like, this is the best community in the world. So I'd love to meet each and every one of you, and hopefully I get the chance to one day. Let's see here. Second question from the commissioner asks, the team that will undoubtedly make the playoffs that didn't last year is ... And then I'm gonna caveat that to Stephen Hacker's question is, what team that made the playoffs last season will miss this season's playoffs? Now I think I'm gonna, not just say one team. I think for both questions, I'm gonna put three teams in what we call the first in and last out chains. So I think for me, the first teams out, first three teams out for me, I think, not in any particular order. Number one is Houston for me. Out of these three teams, everyone knows their situation at this point. If you don't, ask someone within the organization that does. I'll give you a brief little synopsis. Basically, within the rules that have been passed down for this offseason, they had accidentally posted had re-signed a player when that signing hadn't come in yet, and they lost a couple other players due to that, and they had a lot of draft picks because of it, which is unfortunate. And I think due to that, they'll have a tougher time of making the playoffs. I'm not going to say they won't make the playoffs, but I think they're going to have a very hard time getting back to the playoffs this season. Excuse me. Second team that I think is going to have a little bit of trouble, I think, is Atlanta, season 15 champs. And I was originally going to put Florida in this position prior to the draft. And I'm thinking that this is not a shot at Bryant Dynasty or BDG Hollywood or the rest of the swarm, but I think the talent level in the SFL is much more diverse amongst the entirety of the league. And I think that Atlanta is going to struggle. They struggled mightily for the defending champs, struggled mightily last season. And I really think they're going to have some trouble, maybe even some prolonged trouble in season 16. So I don't think, I think Atlanta will probably have some trouble this season. Third team that's in this bubble. It's going to be a little bit of shock to you guys, but I don't think, again, this is not in a particular order, and it's tough. This third one was tough, but I don't think Vancouver is going to make the playoffs, or is going to have a very hard time of making the playoffs this season. Just because of the fact that they're in a division that they should, they should, if they don't win the division, I think they're going to be out. And I only say that because one of my teams that I think might be the last team in is Portland. Portland looks good, composed, confident, and all around strong as an organization. They're doing a lot of good things right. Not just in my eyes, but in a lot of people's eyes. So again, you can quote me on this. Tell me I'm wrong at the end of the season when Vancouver makes the playoffs. I think they might struggle a little bit. In my opinion, if they do not make the playoff, if they don't win the division, they won't be making the playoffs. So I think that's going to be really the tail of the tape is how they do against the rest of the division. So I mentioned Portland is going to do some really good things in this upcoming season. They have a really good shot of busting out of that 2-10 record they had last season and making a run for the playoffs. I'd say I'd put my team up there. I'd see San Diego would have a good shot. I think San Diego's going 5-7. I think that's a good number to shoot for. It would be nice to go for the playoffs, but I'll be happy with 5-7. But again, I think Portland has a better shot at making the playoffs. The Boats have a better shot at making the playoffs than us Mavericks. So let's see here. So we have Portland being one of the last teams in my opinion. Then we've also got a couple other teams, one of which being, let's see here if I can remember. Gotta find my notes here, guys. Sorry. Oh, where was it? It wasn't them. The mind behind the madness, right? What was I gonna say? No. There was I was gonna say. I was gonna say Fort Worth is probably a team that has another opportunity. So the two expansion franchises from last year, I think have a good opportunity of making the playoffs this year. Kendra, thank you. Please sleep well. You deserve it. Being up since 1. Yeah, get some sleep. But I think Fort Worth has a good opportunity of making the playoffs. Just because of how well they finished the season. Both Portland and Fort Worth finished the season really well, and they're both developing the core they had from last season. And with Fort Worth switching Cam Curtis to quarterback, we're really going to see how well Cam can switch back to his original position and make deep strides into the playoffs. A couple honorable mentions. Arizona is probably an honorable mention for me. Again, they have a good shot. I think they're right there with Fort Worth and Portland, but I think they're more of an honorable mention to make the playoffs. Queen City, we all know the multiple-time SFL champions are always dangerous and always have an opportunity to make the playoffs. They deserve an honorable mention. But I think the third and final team that might make the playoffs is Tulsa. Now, prior to the draft, I was looking at Tulsa, and for me personally, I was very not optimistic about Tulsa. As I said right at the beginning of the draft, they needed to have a very strong draft in order to make the postseason this upcoming season. And I really, really, really loved how Tulsa drafted this season. They, in my opinion, had one of the best drafts out of all the teams in the SFL this season. So I really think that Tulsa is really going to build on the momentum they had from the draft, build on the momentum they had from last season going out, and they will be able, I think they have a good opportunity of being one of the last teams in to the playoffs this season. Yes, I am taking guests. If you want to jump on to in on live on the air, if you want to go into the NETMA Discord channel, jump in the green room, and I'll just move you on up, and we can go ahead and start talking. But from there, let's see, we're having a little bit of technical difficulties. I think this is Eddie Gage. You're not muted, bro. I think I can hear myself in your background, sir. What up, though? Eddie Gage. He's not muted. But
I just muted the show. Is it still distorted?
No, you're good. You're good. But before it was a little weird, but you're good. You're good now, cool. Eddie. So what's up, though?
I just figured I'd come in and comment on your recent predictions about season 16. Mm-hmm. And at first, when you said Vancouver would not make the playoffs, I said, whoa, come on. Now, I can't quite go that far. But then when you provided your reasoning for why you thought they would not make it in. Now, I will say this. I am not educated on how the playoff format works. I mean, I'm sure that all the division winners make the playoffs, but after that, is it based off last season's rules with the strength of schedule versus strength of victory? I don't know. I'm ignorant to that fact, so I have to get some information from Cam or someone who is in the know, because I don't. I've been too busy focusing on getting this playbook right, so I haven't really even paid attention to that, because as far as I'm concerned, as long as Arizona takes care of their business, nothing else will matter. But I do need to find that out. So before I can give you an educated answer on that, I was just saying that I was shocked when you said that. Vancouver defense really stepped it up last season. I'm not sure what Andy did, but you can tell he's been in the lab, and his defense stepped it up tremendously last season. And he got a great draft pick to replace DeAndre Washington with, I think his name's pronounced Farnsey or Fanzi.
The Fonz, Josh Farnsey, yep.
There you go. I thought that was one of the best picks in the draft. He got a great pick with that guy, and he's gonna love him, because I love his character as well, and he's got a great player build too. So, man, I'm not gonna say they aren't gonna make the playoffs, but I do see Portland making a step forward, because they were able to replace Amon Takes and some other pieces that they lost quite nicely. It's all, I think Portland, as everyone knows, their key is going to be, can they take that next step on offense? The same questions people probably have for Arizona. Can Portland take that next step to improve their offense? Because their defense was lights out last year. They're one of the few teams who employed a 3-3, 4-3, and a 4-4 off defensive shell. And so not a lot of teams do that, and they had the courage to do so, and they did it quite nicely. So, that's that. I was also kind of shocked for you to say that you predicted Atlanta not to make the playoffs, because that was a shocker to me. If you'd have said that last season, I might have accepted that a bit more, because you had Brian Dynasty coming in with a rookie build, playing the most important position on the field. And even me as a defensive guy, I hate even admitting that the quarterback is the most important position on the field, but it is. And he came in there with a rookie build, and they did just fine. And he's progressed since then quite a bit. So I can't, Atlanta has Tulsa, St. Louis, and I forget the other team in that division.
Louisiana
in that division, yeah. So I don't know how that playoff format is going to go, because to me, that division is going to be a tight between Louisiana and Atlanta, and they both play each other twice. So I don't know. Depending on how Tulsa does, they might knock one of those two is going to knock each other out of the playoffs potentially. So I can see your reasoning with Tulsa a bit there, but their situation also going to be with their offense, because despite the fact that they have one of the most, probably the most expensive receiver in the SFL, since he's left San Francisco, his productivity has dwindled quite a bit. So they're going to have to get in the lab and find a way to get him more productive, but not just that, but also learn to spread the ball around and not make their offense so predictable, relying on him so much, because when he faltered, so did their offense. So I found that kind of surprising. But I don't know. We'll see, man. I'm telling you. Oh, and then you predicted us to be a what did you call us? You defined us as a honorable mention to make the playoffs. Ooh. Once again, Cam put us in a tough division. Cam, I love you, bro, but fam, oh my God. And the schedule, come on, bro. How you gonna send us to Baltimore on ring night, when the night they get their championship rings? But that's all good though, because I plan on sending them guys home with their rings and an L on top of that. But we'll see how it goes. And man, it's gonna be tough. But like I told the guys in the locker room, I'm looking forward to this season. My offense is gonna be totally different. And we just see how it unfolds.
Yeah, going back to your first point about strength of schedule, strength of victory. Yeah, the same rules are going to apply, Eddie. So that's my reasoning is Vancouver, if they don't win the division, in my opinion, Portland, San Diego, LA might jump on that and might have a better season and knock around Vancouver a little bit if they don't watch themselves. So, uh, yeah, that's it. That's exactly the reasoning. So again, I'm on the flagship that says, you know, Vancouver should be winning the division very comfortably, but I'm not saying any of those teams, Atlanta, Houston, Vancouver, I'm not saying any of those teams, you know, won't make the playoffs. I'm saying they're probably the three most teams likely not to make them. And with Arizona, again, there is so much talent in a lot of clubs this season, and a lot of teams could be making the playoffs. Uh, no doubt, with no doubt. Just based on how they play their cards and how the schedule goes, Eddie. So, definitely. Got anything else for me?
Not off the top of my head, and it's glad to see you meet Cam and, give the military guys a shout out. In my opinion, guys who serve don't get enough credit. And just thinking about it, we go to restaurants and we get 10% off. That's some BS. Although I did get 50% off yesterday at Popeyes. That was pretty cool for being a veteran. Yeah. So shout out to all the military guys out there. I just sent my daughter off. She just got to Korea a couple weeks ago, and she's having fun over there. I was hoping she got to spend some time overseas, even though I miss her dearly. I want her to get that experience living abroad. She's doing that now, and life is good for her. So, but yeah, just looking forward to this upcoming season, and I plan on proving a lot of people wrong. I've already got some bulletin board material to prepare ourselves for week 1, and I can't wait. Hopefully, if it turns out our way, to use that as motivation to continue pressing on. So, thanks for the show. Glad we got more content. It's never enough content out here, man. Love what you putting out here, Dave, Ashley, Coach, everybody, man. Nelson, all you guys, I appreciate it, and it makes the long grind of the off season, in particular, a little bit easier to endure, because it's a long off season, and to have all this content to listen to pretty much every day of the week, darn near, is awesome. So continue doing what you're doing, man. I love it.
Thank you, Eddie. Last question for you. A lot of people have been chiming into the chat and asking, wanting me to ask you actually about the draft. You picked up 2 of my former Memphis teammates in Bernard Smith, and I believe it was Max Knight as well, the defensive tackle. So, props to you on being the Memphis farm team, I guess. So, yeah, talk about those 2 guys. I know I really liked Bernard and Max for what they brought to the team, but were those the same kind of qualities you were looking for, those team players, or what else caught your eye from Max and Bernard?
True story about both these guys. Bernard, I know I've said it, but I really mean it. This guy reminds me of a younger me. I love that dude. And someone already gave him, because my Discord name is Scorpion Prince, someone, I forget who it was, maybe it was you, who nicknamed him the Scorpion Prince, because my name is Scorpion King in Discord. I love that dude. The very first time I talked to him was right after week 1 in the SFLM season 2. And we set up a meeting, and we talked for a while. And I was already high on him then, and he was kind of figuring me out still. But then about a week later, I was on Nelson's show from Portland, and he just happened to be listening in. And after the show, he sent me a DM. He says, "Eddie, I'm going to Arizona. If you have an open, I'm going to no other team but yours." And I asked him why. He goes, "Dude, I just love your enthusiasm. I can tell you're excited. You're passionate about the game. You want to win. And, despite all, man, you're going to find a way to overcome any adversity and get this thing done and take Arizona to the next level." And he says, "When you do, I want to be a part of it. I want to learn all I can from you, because all I keep hearing is how you're a defensive guru, and I want to get into coaching." And if I could see his face, I would see the excitement and passion that he has for this game. And if you're listening, Bernard, brother, I love you, fam. I hope you retire a Scorpion, because he reminds me of me. And he just kept talking and just kept talking. And the more he talked, I'm like, dude, hold that phone. and I set up a Discord meeting, and I put DJ Moses the second and Ashley on the group chat with us, and it just continued from there. And we just kept talking every day. He would send me a DM. Eddie, I'm not going to anyone but Arizona. Please let me know you still drafting me. I says, dude, you're the first free safety on the board. Should we draft you? I mean, should we go after a free safety? You're the first guy on the board. I'm just telling you that right now because I fell in love with the guy. Normally, I converse with our two GMs and say, all right, what we're gonna do. But I just pretty much told him, look, we getting Bernard. I'm pulling rank in, and we're gonna go get that guy because he reminds me of me. I love that dude, man. And then everybody I talked to, from Coach Craven, from TJ Speaks, from Mike St. Green, man, I'm sorry if I'm leaving people out because I'm sure I am, but I had so many people reach out to me and says, man, that dude Bernard Smith reminds me of you, man. If you get a chance, you should draft that guy. And I'm like, man, dude. And I didn't want to let the cat out the bag, so I just kept saying, all right, guys, thanks, I appreciate it. But he was already number one on my board, so that was a wrap anyway. But so yeah, and then for Max Knight, I started preparing because EJ DeQ mentioned that he wanted to go to O-line. And so he's my defensive tackle and my highest paid one. So I was like, man, I hate to lose the guy, but I always, like I tell everybody in the locker room, I want you to be happy playing for the team while also happy playing the position you're playing. And if you're not happy with both of those, then something is wrong and we need to fix it. So he went to O-line, was a blessing for him, and it opened up a door for Max Knight. And he was one of the first defensive tackles I interviewed as well. And one of the first things he said to me, and when he said this, it put him number one on our draft board for defensive tackles. When I drafted him, when I first talked to him, within the first few minutes, he goes, Eddie, defensive tackle is not really a glamorous position. We don't get a lot of respect or due diligence for what we do. But I don't care about that. I'm not here for stats. I'm here to put my linebackers in the Hall of Fame by opening up holes and making it easier for them to make tackles. If I can do that, I'm doing my job. When he said that, I said, dude, you just put yourself at the top of my draft board. You didn't even know it. And I took that and copied and pasted it to my computer, and I saved it because I knew if I got that guy, when I posted his picture, I was going to post that comment with him. I love that dude. And as a matter of fact, once he said that, I set up a group chat with him and Bernard along with our GMs, and we stayed in touch every day, several times a day. He's another dude I love. And his bill has some work to do on the pass rush side of things, but I'm loving what he's doing in our run defense, and it's only a matter of time before I get him where he needs to be. And he's another guy. I hope he retires a Scorpion. I know I ran on a little bit longer, but yeah, I love both those guys. I'm glad to have them, and they've already been great contributors in the locker room. Bernard is just pumped. He just can't wait for the season to start, and I can't wait either because we're going to make some noise this season, and I want them guys to be a part of it.
And with both of them being former teammates of mine with the Memphis River Runners, I'm definitely looking forward to matching up against them, Josh Farnsey, who has also joined us here in the NETMA studio. And for me, I can't really line up on the opposite side of the field as Bernard and Max, but I can certainly line up on the opposite side of the field of Jason France, who is with the Tulsa organization. And I'm very scared, to be honest with you, about me and him going to wars on the field, because I respect the hell out of Viva la France and Jason France and what he has brought to not just the Memphis team, but I'm thinking they're going to give Jason a lot of opportunities in Tulsa to catch the ball, Josh, and he's going to be a dangerous tight end. But hopefully that answers your question, and welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. And I was going to ask you, I mean, like, first time Viva La France takes a post pattern and runs you over for 6. I mean, is Viva La France over, and it's just Jason France from that point out?
No, it'll still be Viva La France. It'll be Viva La France pregame and postgame during the 44 minutes. It'll be game time. He'll be France, and I hope to see the front of his jersey, not the back of his jersey. So, and I'll do my best or Mike Ryan will do his best to make sure that happens. But no, I respect the hell out of Jason France.
That's awesome, and I think I kind of along the same lines as you. I kind of when I looked at the schedule for the first time for Vancouver, I definitely circled all those games where I have my Birmingham teammates, and certainly I think week 4 we're playing St. Louis, the chance to play against Christian Brown and Tom Tanner, who again like you, I'm not going to be able to line up against him per se. I'm glad I don't have to. But certainly those games when you're looking at some of your old classmates, I guess, if you want to say, definitely gets the blood pumping a little bit more.
Yeah, 100%. Let's see a couple other questions from Nate Hall. What will be my drink of choice when celebrating New Year's Eve tomorrow? Well, for me, that's actually a good question because I haven't found a quote unquote hard drink that I like yet. I haven't, experimented too much, haven't done a whole lot of searching, we'll call it, for the right drink for me. So I mean, the most I can do for the hard stuff is rum and Coke. Like that's my go-to if I'm going hard. But no, I think for tomorrow, it'll be pretty laid back. Probably have a Michelob like that. And I know that'll be in the drink in my hand when I for New Year's. Let's see here. No, I did not catch Dave's cold, Bob Funk. I'm here on the air, so hopefully this show has answered the question that I did not catch Dave's cold. And for those of you that don't know, Dave Axis runs a show Tuesdays and Thursdays. He'll see at the tees, but unfortunately he came under the weather this past week and was unable to jump on for his appearance on the Dave Axis show. So hopefully he's better and able to do a show. Probably not tomorrow because it's New Year's, but we'll probably see him next week as my guest. So I wish you a speedy recovery there, Dave, and hopefully you're back soon. Let's see. Let's get to a couple others here. We've got David Leathers says, what kind of food did me and the commish drink? Eat and drink, I should say. Yeah, we just mashed up everything and sucked down a straw. We went out to a place called Kona in the northern part of San Antonio, and it's usually more of a sushi hibachi place. But what we did is we went out and he got tomato bisque soup, and I got some sliders. And I think because they weren't, just your average, soup or average slider, they were very good. I highly recommend Kona's if you're ever in the San Antonio area. Let's see, anything else? We got about 9 minutes here before the end of the hour, and I think that's when we'll wrap up together. But let's see. I know I've been talking for a while. No, we've been talking with Eddie and talking with Josh for a while, but did I miss any questions? Hubba says, do I always wear the hat? I'd say it's more of my broadcasting hat / I'm going to go out and go out in the town kind of hat. So I'd say it's more for special occasions rather than but I wear it all the time. Because usually if I'm out and about, I'm usually in my uniform, I'm usually wearing my cover, military cover, otherwise known as the patrol cap or all that stuff. We call it a cover in the Air Force. But, I'm usually wearing a baseball cap or no cap at all when I'm outside. But if I'm going out there hanging out, if I'm going out, going out of the town, this is the hat I'm wearing. Absolutely love the hat. I don't remember where I found it from. I think it was back in my high school days, middle school, high school days is when I found it and haven't parted with it since. And I'm really looking for more hats like this and more ties, as Gunny keeps reminding me. I need some more ties, maybe a golden gopher tie. We'll have to see. Ron Huff is calling that the Mavericks will make the playoffs. I hope we do, Ron. I really do hope we do. We have a good team. Let's see here. A lot of woes from a couple of people, including Eddie and Hubba, about me calling Van might not make the playoffs. Let's see here. I don't think you guys got anything else. You guys got any more questions for me? Again, you can pipe it down in the Discord chat into the So Questions page, or you can post it here in Twitch chat. Let's see here. See, have I heard from Mike Hammer, says Unspoken 55. So disappointed that he did not get drafted. He was great for us. I completely agree. Hammer was a fantastic player, and it kind of, excuse me, 1 second. Excuse me. Anywho, yeah, Hammer was a fantastic player for the Memphis River Runners. They are, it really is disappointing he didn't get drafted. He would have been a great add to any team. I do respect the decisions made by teams, and I wish someone would have taken a chance on Hammer. But there was a lot of talent in the SFLM this season, and some people unfortunately weren't able to be drafted. So it's a sad day to see him not get drafted, and unfortunately now for Hammer, he's out of the league. But I really do hope that he comes back, and or that some other people that got a chance instead of him make plays and do well instead. Let's see here. Anyone else? Has anyone else got anything? Let's see. If there is a convention, I like to have a golf tournament. 100%. I would love to go golfing. Oh, I haven't golfed. I haven't golfed a whole lot during this COVID pandemic, and I wish I have. And I got some time off coming up. Maybe I'll hit the links for the first time in the new year upcoming. But I definitely love to get on the course. I'd love to go golfing with if we get the convention. If we want to set up like a little golf tournament or something, Hubba, I am 100% down for that. Hopefully we're able to do that once we get there. Nate says Kendra played golf in high school. Fantastic. Even because golf, it's a love-hate sport. You can go out there and you love to go out and play golf at the same time. When you're playing golf, you hate golf at the very same time, because you really even the best golfers sometimes can't control where the ball is going, and it's you gotta love the grind. You got to love the grind. Yes, AJ, we have been talking about the convention. Hopefully we're able to get that going this year. I know this past one was canceled due to the coronavirus pandemic, and hopefully we can all meet up at this year's convention, barring it gets canceled. Let's see. Eddie, any final words from you, sir? I think you're muted, bro.
Sorry, I didn't know you. I was multitasking, talking to my wife.
All good. All good.
No, just great show, man. Glad to see you get this thing, like I said, kicking off and on his feet. And I look forward to, like I say, there's no such thing as too much content. So I was actually attempting to kick off a show last season, but due to a hiccup beyond my control, it didn't happen. But since then, you and Dave kind of, and everyone else kind of took this thing and ran with it. So I'm glad to see you guys rolling. And yeah. Oh, Dion said some flag football. I'll be down for that for sure.
100%.
100%. Put me in that safety. I got you. Or outside linebacker. I got you. Yeah.
I'll play slot receiver and linebacker there, Eddie. So I'll jump on the field with you.
I'm not playing a Mike linebacker though. I play outside linebacker. I'm not playing a Mike. My days playing Mike linebacker over with. I play outside linebacker and I play safety for sure.
There we go.
Man, great show, man. Great show.
Thanks, Eddie. I want to thank Eddie Gage and Josh Fonzie for hopping on live on the show. I want to thank all of you for jumping on the show here in chat and all your questions and just hanging out with me. 2020 is finally about to be over. And all I can say is that I'm looking forward to it. We had a really good past 2 seasons of the SFL and the SFLM. Met a lot of great people this year, and really looking forward to next year and just continuing on our journeys in the SFL and in life together in 2021. Well, that's going to do it for NETMA episode 2. Again, thanks for hopping on. And until next time, good morning, good afternoon, and good night, ladies and gentlemen.